Hello, this is Jasmine Hunter, and welcome to my podcast, What is My Life? I have a project due in my teaching English with technology class that my advisor just so happens to teach. Shout out to Miss Hendricks. So, for this particular part of the project, I have to interview a media specialist at a school. So, that means we will be having a special guest today. Our special guest is a media specialist at Neal Middle School in Durham, North Carolina, and her name is Ruby Peel. Now, before we welcome Miss Peel, I want to add that Neal Middle School is a STEM school, which means that they focus on science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Now, let's welcome Miss Peel. Welcome, Miss Peel.
Hi, thank you for coming to see me today.
Well, thank you for having me. So I just have a few questions for you. What kind of technology resources are available for the teachers to use for instruction here?
Well, we have Chromebooks. Right now, we're trying to get every student to have Chromebooks, but we do have carts available for the students for the different grade levels to use. We have smart boards. We have a little clicker system for the students to answer like multiple choice questions or variations. We have projectors. We have a 3D printer. We have like Kindles, Nooks, things like that for ebooks.
Okay, that's interesting. What do you use the 3D printer for?
We actually have, because we're a STEM school, and we actually have a class that's like, how can I put it? It's almost like architecture, where they use it to design bridges and future cities. And we actually have a group of students that's actually competing, in a couple of the future cities of America, something like that. So they use the 3D printers to design their cities. So and it also gives them coding experience as far as like how they want to design things or make. So it's part of their coding process as well.
Right. That's pretty interesting and impressive. I have one more question for you. What is your role with helping teachers with integrating this technology in their instruction or in their classrooms?
Well, actually, what we do is we research a lot of programs and softwares that we think the teachers can use. And then once we acquire the programs or softwares, we actually bring the teachers in and show them how they can use the programs to help their students with, if they're on a reading level, how they can entice the students to read or monitor their level of improvement, or and also we teach them how to do research, like with the Chromebooks they can come in and do research on the computers. We also show them how to use the actual hard books, actually like in a library where before technology was available, you had to do research with encyclopedias
Right.
and books like that. So but a lot of it's just really just getting them to do research and how they can, when they write codes, how those codes works on the programs that they're developing in the classroom. So we find programs and softwares for them to use. So, and I just show the teachers how they can benefit from helping their students excel, and how it can also help the students in whatever class that they're using in math, English, social studies, or science.
Right. Well, thank you so much for answering my questions and having me today.
Well, thank you so much for coming to see me today.
Okay, I will see you next week.
Okay, all right. We look forward to seeing you then.
All right. So that was Miss Peel. And I noticed that when she was explaining the types of technology they have, she mentioned something about getting students to want to read. And it got me thinking, how could I use technology to get my students to want to read when I am a teacher? And I came up with that. I know when I was in high school or middle school, I didn't want to read all the time. So maybe if we read in class and maybe did assignments at home, that probably would have worked better for me. So a way to use technology to read in class would maybe to be play an audiobook, or something else to want to get students to read is that, they would read whatever they had to read, and then we would come in class and use the Chromebooks and the researching skills that Miss Peel would teach them, and to research commentaries on what other people think about what we're reading in class, and then maybe we can form a discussion on that. So that way we could, use the technology, use the MacBooks or the Chromebooks that are provided to us, and just get our students to want to read. So that is all for today. Thank you for joining me this week, and make sure you join me next week on What is My Life?